Revelation 1754. From the 28th of December 1940. Revelation of God's extraordinary grace. If you visualize the extraordinary grace that the Lord Himself condescends to you and teaches you His wisdom, you will have to sing His honor and praise and thank Him without ceasing. However, you will never be able to fully appreciate this grace, for you don't know how immeasurably high He is above you earthly children and what abundance of love prompts Him to take care of beings which are tiny creatures compared to Him. And therefore you accept this great grace so calmly and often don't appreciate it according to love. And it is often only a momentary upsurge where highest delight should make people shiver. But God constantly sends this grace to people in order to give them the opportunity to ascend, in order to reduce the being's great distance from Himself. Therefore He gives His word to people on earth. He lets them become listeners of this word, He makes knowledge accessible to them which is not of this world. He opens up an area for them which cannot be entered earthly, that is, there will be no teacher on earth who can fully inform them of this unless he has previously drawn this knowledge from the very same divine source. And the more the human being desires this knowledge, the richer he will be, the more he will be allowed to receive. But this grace is so immeasurable that it is understandable that it must be a blessing for humanity. God will never offer anything to the world that could lose its value or ever be called less appropriate. What is of God must also prove itself in time and eternity. His word cannot be weakened by people, even if times pass by. The fact that God embodies Himself again in the earthly children who willingly serve Him is so powerful that you humans are unable to grasp it. The fact that He lovingly condescends to them and shows them the most feasible path to ascent is a work of immense mercy, for He thereby does more than the beings deserve. In His love He overlooks the human being's apostate will and only sees his weakness. And thus He meets them with an effective means, He tells them what is not right and advises them what they should do. He imparts an extraordinary grant of strength to those who are not entirely opposed to Him. He shares divine grace with those who ask Him for it from the bottom of their hearts. He reveals Himself to them, He makes Himself known, He is close to earth. And anyone who wants to establish contact with Him will also receive evidence of His closeness, of His strength and His love. For He wants to be recognized by them, He wants to be desired by them, and then He also wants to distribute according to this desire. He wants to shorten the being's earthly path, for once they have found the Lord they no longer need the body burden on earth and can therefore conclude their earthly life, provided they comply with divine will of their own accord and thus live as is pleasing to God. And this is the Lord's purpose through this great grace, that people, in order to become worthy of it, strive to live their lives according to the divine word, so that He can then reward them with truly divine gifts. That He can give them the knowledge of His love, His omnipotence and His wisdom, and that this signifies light and strength for people, thus the state of the being still on earth becomes freer and it therefore approaches redemption. Amen.